let's just see, because I'm very interested in finding out what the amount is. You still haven't answered this letter. I will be firing you back a letter including a link to this YouTube footage, so that if you choose to take the time out of your so busy day to actually read what some of us medical users need to go through, and actually come on YouTube to discuss issues such as these, and to maybe educate you around the very product that you are facilitated to help us with, or you're tasked to help us with. In closing, it says, I would like to inform you that the MMAD does not prevent you from cooking and making teas with dried marijuana only under Schedule 2 of the CDSA. It is illegal to produce the preparations and similar synthetic preparations, including cannabis resin. Okay, Doc, there's a problem. We got a problem here. I'm going to read that again. I would like to inform you that the MMAD does not prevent you from cooking and making with teas with dried marijuana only under Schedule 2 of the CDSA. It is illegal to produce the preparations and similar synthetic preparations, including cannabis resin. So what I'm going to do tonight is I'm actually going to do a demonstration after. And it's going to show you exactly what the hell it is that I'm talking about resin glands. Like this here, no resin glands. These here, lots of resin glands. I'm going to have my wife zoom in on these after to talk about why it is that we actually we get into the resin glands. But it's interesting to note that he talks about that. Now in another letter that actually came in here, and I'm not going to need to get on that. I'm just going to say it came into the International Hempology 101 Society. And this again it pertains to resin glands and how it relates to Schedule C. In this letter that it's addressed again by the federal government, and this one by a Susan Russell, Medical Marijuana Access Division, Drug Strategies and Controlled Substances. It's the one who signed this one. File number 06-008-267-170, September 28, 2006. It would just say here, I would like to clarify a few points that I hope will address your questions regarding food product, resin, hashish, etc. Health Canada's mandate is to provide individuals with access to a licit supply of dried marijuana. What an individual does with the dried marijuana is a personal decision. So what I do with the dried marijuana is a personal decision. Health Canada says. Contradictory to the letter I just read, but anyway. The application package requires applicants to state whether they will be consuming marijuana orally or by inhaled means. I've addressed that as well. We do acknowledge that some people find marijuana preparations such as tea or baking the best option for them. Okay, I agree. Now, that being said, the intention of the regulations was never to allow individuals to make resins or hash oil, because this process that would take place prior to the plants being dried, prior to the plants being dried? I don't think so. This doesn't take place prior to the plants being dried. This could take place prior to the plants being dried. This could take place after the plants being dried. This could be done with water extraction. This can be done with, as I'm going to demonstrate, dry extraction, dry sieving. This can be done with butane. This can be done with isopropylene. I mean, there's a lot of things that can be looped into this. And then it says here, as long as the plant is dried first, any preparations made after that are acceptable. Hash and hash oil are listed on Schedule 2 of the Controlled Drugs and Substances Act, and consequently, their possession is illegal. So what are you telling me? Make my cookies, but you're illegal. Go ahead and make cookies, but they're illegal. And I'm going to show you. Because the resin that we actually use, I made cannabis butter the other day. I mean, you make cannabis butter that way is one way of making it. There's many ways to make cannabis butter. That's one of the ways of making it, where you still get a kind of a green butter at the end. Some people don't like that for making other cooking methodologies and for using other things where they don't want green cookies in the end. And of course that comes to using keef, which is why we're going to make some keef after. Will be a long drawn out series, but you know what? I got a lot of time to talk in a big mouth. And I'm relatively pissed about this letter. And I find it very interesting that that this particular person back in 2006 was told that it's perfectly okay with whatever's left of the plant when it's dry. Thus, we got dried plant material. So I can do whatever I want with it. I can make hash oil. How would that fall under Schedule 2? I can make water extraction because then I'm not using solvents. But then again, would I be allowed to? And as I'm going to demonstrate, I'm going to make it dry, because as my understanding is, and as your letters state, and I keep these letters for this reason, you know, I'm going to go ahead and show how resin's made. I'm not going to go ahead and press the hash, because there's not necessarily a need to. One of the things I'm going to show here next is just going to be the plants and why growers do this. First off, here is a trimmed, dried bud of one of the plants. Okay? As you can see, there's no real hairs. A little bit fluffy. It's not the greatest bud in the world, but it's certainly potent, and it's organic, and it's mine. So I mean, I'm happy with this. Now then, when we look at this here, this is just an example, but you can see all these little hairs there, all these little, not really hairs, sorry, but leaves. These are little leaves that don't need to be there. However, these leaves, if put under a microscope, you would see a host of trichomes. Now those trichomes are what we want to extract. So now why would a grower like myself spend 3 months doing a crop? Now if I do 3 months doing a crop, why would I go ahead and waste all those trichomes? I had a grower once tell me, don't ever waste any trichomes. There's no trichome that can't be recovered.